was just going to give an update on my garden real quick. It's been a couple weeks and I'm running behind, but I just wanted to show you because things are just like growing exponentially. It's pretty funny. So I'm gonna go, let's see, I'll start at the melons. The watermelons, these are those little mini watermelons. And look how big that melon is. I mean, good thing it's sitting on the ground, because if it wasn't, we'd have some major problems. And there's a bunch of them. There's one there. There's one there. Look at this baby. And then they're all up the trellis. It's about halfway up the trellis now. And then it's getting ready to rain on me. I might have to cut it short. Anyways, here's jalapenos, mammoth jalapenos. They're getting there. We got anchos. These are the New Mexico chilies, and those seem to be the highest producers so far. I've got probably 20 on each bush. They're giant. Here's one. So, yeah. And then these guys are starting to finally come on. These aren't they cute? Those are the Tabascos. I got 2 Tabasco plants. That one there is a poblano. We're gonna come over to the asparagus beans. They haven't really produced very well. The one is about halfway up the trellis, but it has not produced one bean. This one over here had some flowers, but they're now gone. I'm guessing that's gonna turn into a bean. I don't know. These don't seem to be maybe they're getting too much shade from the neighboring gigantic gourd bush. You got to see this gourd bush. It's got these little gourds. It was a mixed variety, so it's got these all over. They're getting huge. They're all in there, see them? But then they also got these ones that are really huge. These are like a pumpkin, and they're hanging on the trellis. I can't believe, because they're heavy. So, let's see, there's another one, the big giant one over here. Look at that thing. That's huge. It's a gourd. And I've been killing squash bugs like crazy. There's the other Tabasco. I'm gonna make some Tabasco sauce, or more like Tapatio. If you ask Victor and Ernie, they want Tapatio. They don't like none of this Tabasco junk. And then these are the silver slicers. Actually, they're White Wonder, but they look just like a silver slicer. And I have some of them coming on. I gotta find them first real quick. Here's one. Let's see. I'm gonna come around here. Here's one. Here we go. And they're kind of like a silver color, white cucumber. I've heard they're really mild. And there are some other ones coming on down here. Where'd it go? There's another one. There's another one down there. Yeah. And then this next to that is another cucumber. This is called a muncher cucumber. And these all of a sudden just started growing like crazy. That I did not have one cucumber really on there just last week. And now this week, now I won't be able to find them. Here's one. I'm getting these really cute cucumbers on here. They're kind of a weird texture. They're like plasticky feeling, but when you eat them, they're super crispy and mild flavored. They would make amazing pickles, I think. So, and I've got lots of flowering going on. So we'll see if I get a bunch more cucumbers in here. There's another one down in here. They're all over. It's really hard to see because, oh, it's not going to focus, because they are really hidden. I have to cut back some of the leaves. There's another one. So anyways, that's the muncher cucumber. Then I got that. I don't know if that's actually going to produce big enough pumpkins, but that's a pumpkin right there. There was something running on the ground. It's kind of scary. Saw a frog yesterday. That was weird. We don't get a lot of frogs in Colorado. I mean, they stay at the lakes. It's so dry, they have to stay by the water. So here's my eggplant, and it's really producing quite a bit. Here's a big one right here. Oh, there's another one right there. There's another one right there. I mean, they're everywhere on this plant, so this one's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. Let's go around to tomatoes. All of a sudden, you're seeing the tomatoes without looking, and the tomato bush is really curled up for some reason. This one is, but boy, does it have a lot of tomatoes on it. That one's the Bonnie Original. Then we've got the Goliath, and it's looking really good. Oh, I have these. If you see all these little bags on there, I am saving seeds, and I don't want them to pollinate, get mixed pollination with another plant. So I'm just safeguarding it. As soon as these flowers turn into fruit, then I'm gonna take the bags off, and then I will just tape that branch so that I know that that's the one that I'm supposed to save. I'll save the seeds from those. And if you want, I'll put a video on how to save seeds for tomatoes. It's a little extensive compared to other seeds that you just like pop out of the hole and then dry them a little bit and put them in a bag. But this year I just really wanted to do that. This is aroma, and there's the bag for the aroma. And especially on these like hybrids, if you don't get this bagged and it pollinates with another Roma or something else nearby, as I understand it, you'll still get a tomato if you plant those seeds. It just won't be a Roma tomato. It'll go back to the original, whatever they used to make the hybrids with. So if you don't want that, which, you know, if you buy a Roma, it's because you want a Roma, not because you want Early Girl. So that's a bag there. This one is the Cherokee Purple, and it's getting some tomatoes on it. You can see down in there. It's got some really little tomatoes, but they're going to be growing. Here's a bunch on this one. This is another Cherokee Purple, and I really like the taste of the purples. They have such a great, rich flavor. And they really are purple. I mean, they're really beautiful. So they're kind of like a purplish red. They're gorgeous. But if you can see all the buds on there, this one's going to have a ton of flowers. And I'm saving one from that. And you don't need to save but one tomato. I mean, you'll get dozens of seeds from your tomatoes. This one's real curled up too. We've had a lot of wind, a lot of heat. That's the Mr. Stripey, and this one wasn't doing very good from the poisonous dirt. So that might be... Hi, Breezy. Breezy came to say hi. Hey, say hi. Hi, Bree. Okay, you gonna lick me in the face while I'm doing this? Okay, this one's got a lot of tomatoes on it, and it is an Early Girl. And most of the tomatoes look pretty good. We'll see, I guess, right when they ripen, if they had to make a funky taste to combat the soil, poor soil. But somebody was telling me when tomatoes are stressed, I think I might have heard Jess off of Roots and Refuge say this, so when tomatoes are stressed, they make a better flavor. So mine should be fantastic, because they've been stressed in every way imaginable. And then here is the red beefsteak. It's really curled up too, but it's producing. I mean, it's got tomatoes, and it's got tons of new flowers on it. So then this poor beefsteak, I can't even believe it has one on it, one tomato, but it does have tomatoes. Looks horrifying. And then this one is the yellow something or other. I don't have the tag, and I know it's a yellow variety, but I don't know what kind of yellow variety. And I'm seeing little tomatoes coming off of that one too. So they're producing. Okay, that's all for this side of this garden. And as you can see, they're getting up there in height. This one probably should be on this side. But they're getting up there in height. They're about 3/4 of the way up the trellis now. And they're still growing. So they're doing really good. That's that side. And then we come over to this side of the garden, this other box. And these ones are the muskmelon, Eden's Gym muskmelon. And these are about palm size. Of course, I have little hands, but they're, you know, they're about palm size for me. And there's several in there, and there's several on the way. You can see these. There's one hanging there. They like they start at the bottom and start producing down there first. So I'm sure there's some down in there that I'm not seeing. There's one little one. And I'm just not getting down in there very much. This one, however, has got a ton of, this is the honey rock. Look at this. You get down in here. Oh my goodness, they're just everywhere. And I love melons, and those are getting to be a little bigger than palm size, but what gorgeousness. And there's a bunch of them. And so if you get down in there, you probably see even a bunch more. There's one hanging right there. Or where'd it go? There it is. Yeah, so I'm excited. I go through and I pull off these ones that don't look like they're in very good shape, because there's no point in leaving them on there, because the bush is just going to spend all its time making that when it could be making that one. And that one's in good shape, and that one's in good shape. So you kind of want to keep the good ones on and take the bad ones off. Don't let it put its energy into a poor fruit. So that's just me, and I have time to do that right now. If I didn't, I'd just leave it. These are cayenne peppers, and look at these cute little things. They're all over. I mean, they're just little squiggly lines, like little worms. And they are just, there are tons of them on this bush, tons of them. And so I will be making the hot cayenne pepper flakes with this. And if you want to see how I do that, then I will make another video for that too. I just made chicken feet. Let's see, chicken feet bone broth from my chickens that we processed. And I did videotape processing my chickens, and I will load that as soon as I get a chance to do that. That's going to be a pretty long video, unfortunately. Here's the candy cane. Oh, hold on. There's the candy cane peppers. And this bush is just going crazy too. Candy cane to candy cane. They're so cute. Look at how cool those are. And then this one is a poblano. I have not gotten a poblano on yet. I've got lots of flowers and lots that are just beginning, but not a full. I can't show you what a poblano looks like yet, I don't think. That one is a jalapeno. I was showing a video before and skipped right over having jalapenos, but that one is a jalapeno. And this one is a New Mexico, and it hasn't started producing much yet. It's got a few littles on it, but not much. Then this melon is, what is this one called? This one is the heirloom cantaloupe. Look at that. Is that beautiful? And it's going to get big. It's not a huge cantaloupe, but it's a bigger variety. So this one is already starting to get stressed. I'll probably have to tie it up today or tomorrow. And there's not a lot on here. Like, see, that's a naughty one. That shouldn't, it's like icky. I'm gonna take it off. So I just take those off. There's no point in leaving them. There's some good ones there. Look at that one's pretty. And so you'll know, because they get kind of shrivelly looking and yellow. They turn yellow, and sometimes they just fall off. They're just not good. Maybe they didn't get pollinated. If you find that your fruit dries up, the flower on it dries up without producing a fruit or producing a minimal fruit, an ugly fruit. It's probably because it didn't get pollinated, which surprises me because we've had so much pollination, or pollinators here. Here's another one of these. I'm going to pull this out for you. Isn't that cute? Cantaloupe, heirloom. So I'll save one of these two for seeds. If I remember, hopefully I remember, because I am the most forgetful person on this planet. Here's one. Look at this one. Oh my goodness. That's a big one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's just so exciting. I love it. So there's my loofah. He's not doing very good. The other loofah died. It was right here. I don't know. It just doesn't like it here. Maybe it's too crowded. This is a watermelon that's just now starting to get little watermelons on it. Just now. I planted it late. It's a yellow, let's see, petite yellow is what that's called. Yeah, petite yellow. And then here's a type of, I mean, these kind of are what the poblanos are going to look like, but I wanted to make chili powder, ancho chili powder. And so I'm guessing, because they look so much like a poblano, I'm guessing that they're in the poblano family. So they'll probably taste quite similar. But they make the best chili powder. And if you want, I'll show you how to make that too. If you want to look into that, you could always buy ancho chilies or poblanos at the store and make your own chili powder instead of buying it. You can make tons of it for half the price. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But anyways, I just like doing stuff like that. So, and then here is the other New Mexicos. And they are really, really coming on. This bush, it's got a ton of them on it. See, down there? They're really pretty. And then that one is a Culapino. And you know what's really weird about the Culapino? I'm guessing you can probably tell of hotness or heat of a pepper plant by the feeling of the skin, because this Culapino that's supposed to be a jalapeno that stays cool, it has the same texture feeling, more plasticky. Oh, that one's going to come off. As this one over here, which is the it's just that real plasticky feeling. So I'm guessing that you could probably tell, because the ones that are hot jalapenos have more of a slick skin to them, like a, I don't know what you call it. It's different. It's just different. Okay, so moving on. This one has decided to migrate down to the ground. I've already pulled off one giant spaghetti squash off of it, and I've got this giant monster. And my daughter said let it grow a little because she sees the ones in the store a lot bigger than the one I picked. So this one, look how big it is. Okay, there's my hand. And it's like twice the size of my hand. It goes way down here. It is just huge. So anyways, I'm going to pick it probably next day or two. But isn't that cool? Look at it. And so I'm getting down underneath here. Here's my little jungle. If you want to pretend like you're in a jungle, you just squat down, get underneath the leaves, and you're not in Colorado anymore. And this one over here is the Blue Hubbard. This is an heirloom variety. It's also actually coming all the way over here. That's a Blue Hubbard squash right there. And look how far it's come all the way up, and it's reaching over the top. And that's the Blue Hubbard that's such a great climber. And what's funny is those are really heavy, but it's got such a thick trunk on it that it can hold on to the I'll show you one on the back here that's gigantic, and it's just doing fine. Oh, it's got so it's got a Blue Hubbard right there. These are like, oh, there's bugs. Hold on, I'll get them off. Get off. Those bugs are so funny. They put off this smell. It's this sweet, perfumey smell that they put off when you grab them. They spray it, I guess. I mean, but you can smell it. Anyways, back to the squash. That one's a spaghetti squash. And this one is a blue Hubbard. So they're kind of crossing lines here. But the blue Hubbard is like an acorn squash. It's a winter squash. The spaghetti squash, I think, is a winter squash. I mean, it acts like a winter squash, so I'm guessing yes. And then for summer squashes, this one's getting eat up a little bit by these bugs. I'm not staying on top of that. But I have just picked 2 zucchinis, and I've got a couple more zucchinis. I don't know where they are. Coming on. You can see them kind of through there. Here. Right there. There's a couple coming on in there. And I think there's a couple on this side as well. And I can't see them. Anyways, I have more zucchini than I need right at this moment. I'll probably give some away. Or I will grate it and freeze it for zucchini bread, because it turns squishy in the freezer, but for zucchini bread it doesn't really matter. You squish it up anyways, grate it. So yeah, this one is my yellow squash, and you can see down in there there's several yellow squashes. Those are heirloom varieties. And then this one's just starting to get some more yellow squashes on it. And I've picked a bunch of those. I see a little spaghetti squash down there too that's coming through this side. They're everywhere. I mean, this garden has just been, it just tickles me pink. There's the ones that I picked, and those are perfect size. So I'll bring those in. I'm gonna forget it, I know. Here is the Juliet. And Juliet, this one, even though it was pretty damaged, the hybrids really did manage the poor soil better than the heirlooms. The heirlooms were definitely a bit weaker. So this is the Juliet. That it was all curled up, and it still is a little bit curled, but look at the production of the little grape tomatoes that it's making. They're all over. And so, I mean, they're everywhere. So, you know, I think that they're going to be fine. They're going to do well. There's Frankenmato. And this is funny because Frankenmato's trying to produce a whole nother branch coming out of the top, which is hilarious. And look how nasty curled up it is. I'm just letting it live because I feel bad for it. But anyways, probably won't eat anything off of that one. This one is a white beauty. And so Christy will be happy to hear this. This is the one that my sister bought me, one of the ones. And it is producing tomatoes, and I wanted to save the seeds, so I've got a few in bags here, and you just go along and flip it like this, because the way that a tomato pollinates is from its own, it's within its own flower. So it doesn't need to go from this flower all the way over to this flower. It just pollinates from the pistil to the stamen. I think those are the right words. On its own, just by shaking it, it goes down the pistil and gets onto the stamen. Or it might be the other way around. Goes down the stamen, gets on the pistil. Anyways, you don't need to know all that. But I'm saving seeds, and I think I saw a tomato on this one. I don't see it now, so maybe not. But hopefully those will produce some tomatoes, and then we will be able to save the seeds, and at least it will carry on to the next generation of tomatoes. This one is another Juliet, and like I said, it's a hybrid, so it's doing pretty well. And it's got flowers galore, and I have been pruning all of these, by the way, so every time I see one of these little things in the crotch of a tomato, I just pop it off of there. And that's like an everyday occurrence. Happens every day. So I just come out here in the morning and I will just prune all of these. Here's one right here. I just pop it off there. If you wait till they get too big, it's kind of, you have to use clippers. But yeah, so I'm doing that. This one is this is the purple. And it's got a couple flowers that I'm bagging. And as soon as they start making tomatoes, I'll take the bags off, but I feel like they're in prison. They're really not. This one is a Paul Robeson, and it's actually producing some tomatoes, and I've got some that are bagged. Some of the best ones that I could find were bagged. There were tomatoes on it, I thought. I don't see them right now, but sometimes you have to look pretty hard. And then this one is the chocolate cherry, and it has one tomato, I think, on it so far. And I'm pretty excited about that too, because this was an heirloom variety, and it got hit pretty hard with the dirt too. But right now, it seems to be really bouncing back. So I'm thinking it's gonna be okay. And look here. Aw, it's a baby. So we're gonna at least get one, maybe, unless something eats it. And then the last one here is the black and brown boar. And we have flowers coming on. I have some that I saved. Let's see, over here, and they have just turned brown, and so they're probably going to turn in tomatoes here shortly. So hopefully they are going to, and then we will get some black and brown boars. And I think it is a cherry tomato variety, like a small tomato. So judging by the flowers, usually you can tell by the size of a flower how big the tomatoes are going to be on it. So if you don't know if it's a cherry or whatever, if you look and it's got these tiny little flowers on it, unless there's something wrong with it, which this has had stuff wrong with it, it's probably going to be a small tomato. Here we go. Here's one right here that's just starting. And it even has the shape of a small tomato. You know, it's kind of pointy. I don't know. Anyways, that's how I judge what size the tomato is going to come off of it if I've lost the tag or whatever. So that is the end of that side of the garden. And just a note too, FYI note, the wooden trays that I made, that my husband made for me for the strawberries, is not a good deal because they just wouldn't stay wet. And if you had something that waters them about every 3 times a day, then that probably would have been okay. But they just dried up and I couldn't keep them wet long enough. And so the strawberries just didn't do well. I'm going to get up here and show you. Like that. I don't know if you can see that. Here, I'm going to look down the line. See, they just dried up. And they just don't. Even if I watered them twice a day and they still didn't do very good. So there you go with that. This is my little squash bug prevention, my homemade squash bug prevention. And then I also have been using, I couldn't find the Alaska fish food, and so I've been using this one, fertilizer, the fish emulsion. This one was at Murdoch's. Kind of pricey, but you only use a tablespoon per gallon. So, I mean, this one is the 9.10 pound, 9.10, oh no, 128 flowing ounces. So I'm like, that ain't, anyways. Yeah, so I just use one of those watering cans, put 2 tablespoons in, because that's 2 gallons, and just pour. You don't need a ton of it. You just pour like a couple seconds worth of the emulsion on the roots, or right on the ground by the roots, and they really like it, let me tell you. Okay, so on the ground garden, the in-ground garden, I've said this before, but I'll just say it in case this is the only one that you've watched so far. This was a no-till garden that I used I just dug up the ground by just spaying it and lifting it, and putting a spade or a shovel and lifting it and putting it in and lifting it. So I didn't turn anything. And then I laid cardboard over the whole entire thing, laid it down, wet it first, laid it down, wet it more. And then I took my soil, which this is partly the bad soil too, so you know, hasn't done that great that way, but then I lay that soil on top. If I had it to do over again, I would do it 100 times over again, but I would use good dirt, and I would put about 5 inches of dirt rather than just a couple inches of dirt. So some of the plants did not, if they were planted above, like the beets and stuff, they didn't have enough dirt to take real good root before they got, you know, they needed to stand, and they didn't have the support, so they definitely needed to get better roots that they could go down into the cardboard with. I mean, after a certain amount of time, like by now, the cardboard is starting to decompose and it's really starting to turn into the soil. So it doesn't matter what the roots are now. They would go through that easy. But at the very beginning, some of the plants that are taller, like corn, it needs to be able to get its roots down in there fast. So you either need to plant plugs, like where you plug through the, you poke a hole through the cardboard, plant it down into the garden like I did with the onions, or you need to have more dirt on top. And like I said, I would do it again and again. It has kept my weeds to a manageable position. I'm just now starting to have to pull a lot of weeds, and that never happens. Usually I'm overwhelmed by now. So, okay, so let's move on. We're at the pumpkins, and the pumpkins were a little late start because I had to replant them 3 times because they didn't come up because of the soil. But now I've got a bunch of little pumpkins coming up. There's one here. And they're, you know, they're coming along. They'll be all right, I think. We'll get some pumpkins. And they might not be huge this year, but it's okay. We don't have any children. We just got a grandchild. We got 2 grandchildren, but only one's going to be interested in pumpkins. The other one's only a year old. So then here's all my potatoes, and I've been burying them. I just buried them. And right now I'm kind of, dirt's running a little slim. So I went out into the pasture over there, into the corral, and I dug up some of the old manure from my horse that's like shredded wheat. Now it's dried and it's like peat moss, I guess. And I brought it back in here and I dumped it on top. And it doesn't have any heat to it because it's super old. It's already composted. But and it's really loose, so it'll be really easy to dig the potatoes if they grow in there. I don't know. I just didn't have any real soil to put on there. So it does have dirt mixed with it. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know. And then here's the corn. One of these is an heirloom corn, and as you can see, a cute little deer came through here and chewed all the tops off of my corn. And that one's chewed off, and that one's chewed off, and that one's chewed off. And look at that, you little rat. So I put some bars of soap down, you can see, because I was told that they don't like that, and I didn't really want to spray the corn. Anyhow, we'll see what happens. Out of all of the okra, I had 2 come up. I think I already said that before, but they're starting to get to be a decent size. And they're the heirloom burgundy okras, and probably with the way that this family eats okra, which is not at all, I'm the only one who eats it, so probably 2 plants is going to be enough anyways. So I'm happy that I even got 2 plants. I'll be okay with that. There's another hill of potatoes there. I have no idea what those are. I can't remember. This one is one of the ones that I planted, this tomato, because of the ones that curled up in there. I was doing an experiment. These curled up too, because this has the same soil, but I planted them down in the dirt, and they are doing better, yes, but they still curled a little bit. As you can see, they're still curly, but they're not like really, really, really bad curly. These are the Cherokee Purple, and I think I had a Cherokee Carbon. No, maybe not. That's a Cherokee Purple as well, and it's got some tomatoes down on the other side. You can see right here. Then this, hold on, I'm gonna wipe off this. I think it's getting blurry. How's that? Okay, and then we've got the, this was a volunteer too. It looks like it might be a pumpkin as well, but I really don't know. It probably is. Oh yeah, here, look. It's got a big pumpkin on it. Look at that. Can you see it? I can't tell. Okay. And then I've got my purple cabbage, and it's making some pretty good heads of cabbage in there. Except if we walk down here just a ways, where the deer decided to chew the top off of that one and of that one. A little rat. So now I've got this Irish Spring here, and I'm leaving it out open a little bit. They don't like the smell of it, probably because it smells like people. I've got it laying around. They ate every top off of all my lettuces. That's iceberg lettuce, so they ate the big bulb of iceberg part out of there, little rats. And they are pretty to look at, and she's got twins right now, so I can't get too mad. But, and she's still bringing one of the little bucks with her too. So here is my Swiss chard. Swiss chard didn't do real well this year. I noticed I sprayed it this morning. I noticed it had a bunch of earwigs, so that could be why. And I thought that was a Swiss chard, but I think that that's a beet that somehow got there. So, and then there's my kale. I'm gonna pick some of that today and have a smoothie. And there's more Swiss chard. And then this is another voluntary something or other. I'm guessing it's also a pumpkin, because I think what happened was the pumpkin got put into the compost pile, like this one too. That's another voluntary. And anywhere I put compost from my compost pile probably is going to grow pumpkins. I'm just guessing. I would have rather have been cucumbers maybe this year, but that's okay. So here are my multicolored carrots, and they're kind of getting crowded out. I keep saying this, I'll probably pull this pumpkin out, but there they are. They're really close together. I just like them. I don't ever grow enough to really produce anything or can them or anything, because this is the only soft enough dirt. So, and since I was doing the cardboard no-till garden there, I was afraid to try and put carrots in that. I didn't think it would work. So carrots are so picky about how they need to grow in some soft soil. Then there's my basil. I've already harvested a whole top off of this. It was about this high. I got it and used it for the to put in chicken and noodle soup, and then also for the chicken feet beef broth, chicken feet bone broth. I can't talk, that I made. So that went in there. I harvested the cilantro once, and now it's starting to go to seed. So I keep pulling off the seeds. I'm not really sure why, but I'll probably save some of the seeds and put them in the whole thing as well. And I can't see what you guys are seeing because it's so bright out here right now. Okay, and here's another thing of potatoes that somehow got planted here. I don't know what they are. It's surprise potatoes. You'll have to stay tuned and look at the next garden update in order to see what they are. Because probably by the next one I'll be starting to pull. They'll be dying off. Potatoes die off, and then you know that it's putting all of its energy into making the roots, the tubers, and then you can go and get your potatoes. So let's see, we've got rosemary there. We've got the beans are actually starting to climb now, finally. And we've got, there's the rosemary. I did use a bunch of rosemary for the beef, the bone broth. I can't say that word, I don't know. And then I did use the thyme. I cut it and it's already like doubled because I cut it way back. And it's so good, and boy does it make your food is so much more delicious with the fresh herbs. I mean, I can't even tell you the difference. And then parsley, I cut that down too, and it's big again. Well, it's starting to get big again, and I use that in the broth. And so I just put a bunch of seasonings and some leeks in the broth, and then just cooked it for, I don't know, 4 hours in the Ninja Foodie. Get out of there. You're eating grass. Don't eat grass. And then here's my lavender. And I did harvest the tops of the lavender. And I've got them in a bag drying because I'm going to save the seeds of that. So, and I might make some essential oil if I can find a good recipe for that. If you guys know how to do it, just put it down in the comments and let me know. Or you can text me at, or actually, one of the better ways would be to messenger me on Facebook at Teresa Clark Dupre. That would be easier. This is my chocolate mint. And I harvested some of that already and I'm drying it. I'm gonna use it for teas. And if you have any ideas of what I could use the chocolate mint for, other than tea, then give me some ideas. I've never had it before, and man, it's just really growing crazy. I love it. I love it, love it. My cherry tree is looking a little putrid. I did pour the blood from the chickens. I added water to it from the chicken processing. I poured it into that, and it actually did perk up a little bit. So I don't know if it's nutrients that it's missing out on, or if I'm not watering it enough, or hard to tell. Anyways, we've had 2 cherry trees there that didn't like it. I just harvested chamomile this morning. It looks like a few other flowers needed to get it, but I didn't get them. So I will harvest that again maybe tomorrow. It just keeps putting out. As long as you are picking the chamomile off of it, and then I just dry them and put them in a paper bag and use it for tea. And then let's see around here. Look at all those weeds. The deer came through and also ate the top of my nectarine tree. That's a little dwarf nectarine, and it ate that. And this bed's not doing much except those really beautiful pink flowers. It's prettier than it was before, but some of the flowers are not blooming right now. And I have one of those that was from one of my daughter's weddings, and it was in pots all around the house, and then I replanted it, and it's only supposed to be biannual, but it lasted, so far it's been 4 years now. There's my daisies. I love daisies. And then as you can see, the mums are finally coming up, and they will be gorgeous in the fall. They're just beautiful. If I can get all this grass out of here. And this one's on its way out. It's going down, but it sure is pretty too. And the pampas grass is finally starting to take off, and it'll be, probably 9 feet tall, something like that. Okay, and I think that's it. No chickens in the chicken. Well, I did get babies. Those are egg layers, and since I'm gonna be here for the most part, because Breezy, she's gonna be having puppies at the end of August. And I'm pretty sure she's pregnant. I can tell because she acts different. She is coming off of her food. She's not eating any food right now, and she seems super hot. She's eating a lot of grass, so maybe she's got a little bit of morning sickness kind of thing. Right, Bree? Right? And she still follows me everywhere I go. But since I'll be here and we're going to be having puppies the end of August, then I went ahead and got egg layers so that we would have eggs for the winter. And my husband just really likes having the eggs. And so here also is the Alina's flowers. And my echinacea is doing pretty good as far as leaves are concerned, but I don't see any flowers yet. So I'm hoping to get some echinacea in there. If I come around here, this is my compost pallet bin. And I just had my husband put a bunch of grass in there, and we're going to start a whole nother compost here. And I took what was in there and put it into the tumbler. I'll show you what's in the tumbler too. I don't have my gloves on. I have a weird thing about touching, getting my hands, I know it's not a gardener thing, but I hate getting my hands dirty. So anyways, this is what's in the tumbler, and it's, as you can see, it's much darker. It's really hot in here, and it's starting to compost. And it's starting to, and this was grass too, and corn husks that should have been chopped up probably. But anyways, I need to put water in it, so I'll leave the lid off of it for now, because it should be a little moisture. It shouldn't be crumbling like that. It should be to where when you squeeze it, it holds together a little bit. It shouldn't just fall right apart. You should get a little bit. You don't want it soggy that you're squeezing liquid out of it, but you don't want it this dry. So I'll add some water to it, and there's a grapevine. Let's see, we need to come back over here. These trees are so, I mean, let me tell you, they're just such a blessing to have. But man, look at these. This is just from, we burned all the ones at the beginning of the season, and we just keep getting more and more. Every time it's windy, new set of, and these are big. I mean, that's probably 3 inches around. And then, okay, here's my trellis that my husband made me. He makes me a lot of things. I'm so lucky. I'm very fortunate. And then the grapevines have never done really well here because of the trees. There's not enough sun, but this year they put out 1 or 2 clusters of grapes, and they've climbed all the way up. They've never done that before. So I had trimmed all of this furry stuff as far as we could get. We trimmed all that off the trees, and as you can see, they go over the house. Those got to all come down. So that's going to cost a lot of money, I think. We have a friend that does tree service, and we're planning to hire them if we can't get to those, but they could use the money too, I'm sure. So here's my chicken coop. Here's our rooster. This is the one that got pardoned. He was supposed to be processed as well. There's a baby over there. But my daughter liked him, and we kind of have a thing for the naked necks. We like them, and so as long as he's a kind rooster, and we didn't have a rooster either, and my husband really likes to have the rooster. That's his fun, I guess. But so we decided to let him live, and then we got 10 chicks of different varieties. We got Aircanas, Silver-Laced Wyandottes. I can't remember the other ones. Anyways, yeah, my brain is leaving me. And then, so we're just now starting. I'll turn around here and show you. I'm not sure you'll be able to see this, but down at the end of this, right before the tree down here, you can see the little orange flags. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. We're gonna build our little kennel. It's just a small office for me and a small whelping area for Breezy. And then it'll have a yard that goes all along there so that they have a tree for shade, the puppies. Before they were on the back patio, they were born inside in the bedroom, but we don't have space in our house this year because my kids are here, and so one room is our office, the other room is the kids, and they're building a house right now. We're building them a house. And then, well, my son is building them a house. I say we, like a family. And then, so there's no room, and I don't want her to be in the living room and be nervous. And so I just thought, I spend all day with her and the puppies anyways, and they can all come in the living room when they get, I can put them in a playpen in the living room while I'm hanging out during the day. I like them to live within the house while they're growing, because I think that's really important for them. And so, and I mean, why do this if you're not going to be having fun enjoying the puppies? So it's just a place for them to be at night and to be safe and secure, and also to be where she can whelp and have her privacy and have a little bit of quiet. It'll be heated and air, but it won't have any, it's like a shed kind of in a ways, but it'll be an office, and it'll just be off the back of the garage there. So that'll be cool, and I'll update that too if anybody's interested in that. The puppies will be due, I think, like August 28th. What you doing there, rooster? Huh? What are you doing? He's such a cute rooster. He's doubled in size, and he's supposed to be an eating rooster, so he might get too big anyways to where he can't walk. If that happens, then we'll probably have to process him anyways, but for now, he gets to live. And then our barn. So we've got the 15 acres. It's all in hay right now. And the next time you see it, here's the stalls of the barn. There's my bathtub that's going to go into my bathroom. We don't have any animals in here yet. We're going to get a couple cows here pretty soon. We're just trying to be more self-sufficient, and thus the whole farm slash homesteading slash chickens and gardening. And we're getting ready to also build our first prototype for a greenhouse, and we might do a greenhouse slash tiny house that will incorporate a little house into a greenhouse and be all heated solar. We're not sure. I mean, Mike had some background in solar. We worked there for quite a while. There's my apple trees back here. I need to go look at them and see how big the apples were. That I can see them from here, so they're getting up there. There's my dog eating more grass. Breezy, stop eating grass. Come on, get out of there. Come here. No, she's eating something else probably. Come on, out. Luckily she minds me really well. So, yeah, so anyhow, that's what we got there. This used to be the horses' pasture right here, and we burned it a little while ago, but we haven't put anything in there, so now it's growing back up again. And then, if we go over to the other side over there, we have the ditch that runs along there, and it's got a stream in it that is year long. There's the babies, they came out. The stream is like a artesian brook, or I don't know what you call that, artesian well or whatever, but it comes out and runs all year. So we get a little bit of water through that. Oh, now you guys can't get back in, huh? What are you gonna do? Oh, hey, I saved you so that you could be a good rooster for these chickens, the hens. Don't be mean to them. He's gonna beat up on him. Hey, don't be mean, Mooster. Go on. Go on. Yeah, so anyways, I think that's all I wanted to share today. And if you have any questions, or if you want me to cover something that I haven't and I just keep skipping over it, I just don't have that kind of brain. I'm just trying to do this to encourage some gardeners or some homesteaders that are also doing this, and that you don't have to be perfect to do it, and you don't have to know a lot. You don't have to have a lot. I mean, I think about this, and most of my production that I do happens within an acre of land, and probably even less than an acre, because I don't have the cows here or any bigger animals. But even with an acre, you can put a cow and a garden and a house and you can do all that with an acre. So don't not get a piece of land just because or don't start in your own little mini farm or homestead because you only have an acre or you only have half an acre. Just do what you can do and then buy the rest if you have to, or barter for the rest, or whatever it is. But don't get discouraged because, like I said, I have 15 acres here, but it's almost too much because somebody else leases it and takes care of all of that up there. They take care of all the watering and everything, and they get all the hay off of it because we just don't have the equipment to do that. We don't have tractors. We don't have, we don't have all of that stuff. So I think personally, it's just a win-win situation because the guy that's farming it, his family benefits from that. And then we benefit from having all this land without having to take care of it. So here's our ditch. And like I said, and when they turn off the ditch rider, comes along and turns it off, or the people turn it off at a certain time, then it still runs. It's only about a foot deep. We actually have fish in it. And it's year long, and it never freezes completely because it's moving. This field next to us, they just got cut. So their hay is laying down, which is kind of sad. I think it rained last night. I don't know. It doesn't look like it got rain. As long as it doesn't get a ton of rain, it'll be okay. But then that means that they'll probably come over and do ours this, in the next couple days. Today is like Thursday or Wednesday. They'll come Thursday or Friday, or maybe even today yet, and they'll come and cut all of this. And it's all pasture grass. It's all for hay. There's very little alfalfa, but that's all alfalfa that's just kind of blown in every once in a while. That's alfalfa. It's got some Timothy, and it's just a good combination. And when they're done for the year, they bale the hay and stack it somewhere and sell it, and then they run cows on it. So we may just run our cows with their cows, because they put up the fencing. Literally, we do nothing to this land up here. There's 8 acres up here. We do nothing to, because he does everything. He pays for the water. He pays for the piping. Well, the piping was ours, but he moves it, and if it gets damaged, he buys new piping. It's just a really good situation. He takes everything off of it that he uses, and we've allowed him to run the cows on it too, and that's really beneficial to our land because it fertilizes, first of all, and pastures need to be eaten down. That's just the way they work, and so it's beneficial all the way around. So he gets the money for feeding the cows and beefing up the cows, and we get the joy of having 15 acres without working it. So there's a lot of ways that you can have a lot of acreage and only use a little bit of it, or you can have a little bit of acreage and use all of it. And this right here is not even a quarter of an acre where all my garden is. And I plan to actually fence this all the way around. We call it the pie, this little pie section. And it's in buffalo grass right now, so it doesn't need hardly any watering, but also it doesn't infiltrate things real heavily. So once you plant something else where you want it, like a perennial garden or anything like that, it stays pretty unweedy, So anyways, that's the garden. And if you have any questions, just put your comments down below. You can tell me I'm boring. You can even put the bat down thumb. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's okay. I understand I can be really boring, and I don't really want to show me talking because I'm just not photogenic. So I don't like seeing me on video, and so that probably won't happen. But yeah, just put your questions down there, put your likes and dislikes, anything that you have as far as suggestions like for the deer, or for issues with the squash bugs, or things that I can make with the vegetables that you've seen in my garden. I love information. I'm an information bug. So thank you for hanging out, and God bless you guys. Have a great day.